Yeah, I'm a full-time Sankirtan devotee, and up until the week before, the 14th, the day that we actually were there and met former President Clinton, my senior Sankirtan partner and devotee, colleague Sachi Chinoy, we usually go out to universities and colleges, but because all of the universities and colleges are out for summer, there's not much engagement on campus now, so we've resorted to go to Santa Monica Boulevard on the promenade, where there's quite a robust crowd and lots of opportunity for engagement to try to preach Krishna consciousness to people. And we were in the same spots that we're always in, and we get there, well, that day we got there at about 10:30 a.m. in the morning, and we had been distributing for about an hour. Then around 11:30 a.m. I noticed that there was like a really big crowd of like what appeared to be Secret Service agents, like converging in our area. Okay, what's going on here? Who is this that they're escorting? I started to get the impression that it was somebody pretty big, because I saw quite a few armed guards, and so I could tell, it had to be some kind of celebrity, some kind of like rock star, movie star, somebody. And so I was trying to like distinguish between the people that were amongst the crowd, and I couldn't see anyone, And after a moment, they just kind of opened up, like parted right down the middle. And in the center of all of those guards, I immediately recognized former President Bill Clinton, wearing a yellow shirt, orange tie, and it was unmistakable that that's who it was. And so I was like in disbelief. I went, wow, oh my gosh, as a young man, I grew up watching so many of his televised addresses to the nation, and took a lot of interest in politics around that age, and the bills and the legislations that he was passing. And so it was kind of like a starstruck moment for me. And so, it didn't take long for me to come to my senses and think, oh my gosh, like, how do I make the best use of this opportunity? And as I'm going through this thought process, he walks right up to me. I didn't move a step in any direction. I just stayed in my same Sankirtan spot that I'm always planted in. And with Sachi Chinoy right across from me, he's just like, oh my gosh, And so I'm staying in the same spot, and Bill Clinton walks right up to me with all of his guards around, and he puts his hand out to me. And I accept it, gratefully, and I shook it, very strongly, and he pulled me in closer to him and gave me a hug with his other hand while we were still shaking hands. And I went, okay, oh my gosh, what do I do, And so I just said the first thing that came to my mind, which was, Bill, I love you, man. I love you. And he went, oh, thank you. He kind of chuckled and laughed a little bit. And I thought, okay, what should I do? And so I said, okay, all right, give him a Bhagavad-Gita, And so I reached down, I gave him a Bhagavad-Gita, and I said, can I give you this, Bill? And he said, yeah, sure. And so I gave it to him. He looked at it and he went, wow, thank you so much. And then he held it up for the rest of the crowd around him to see, because at that point there were like maybe 75 to like 85 people all around us that had their phones out, they're recording with their phones, taking pictures with their cameras. The Secret Service is like trying to hold people back, because at that point people are starting to recognize who he is. And so he holds the Bhagavad Gita up, and like a big cheer comes from the whole crowd, and I was just like melting. I couldn't even believe that it was happening. And as he's stepping up into the car, before he closes the door, he turns back to the crowd one last time and holds up the Bhagavad Gita, and everybody was cheering, and it was just an unreal moment. It was just totally unreal. But if somebody would have said that I would distribute a Bhagavad Gita to Bill Clinton one day, I would have said they were crazy. But in that moment, I realized that Krishna, through Krishna, anything's possible, And I was watching very, very attentively to see, because he had so many guards around him, I was watching to see if he would just pass the Bhagavad Gita off to one of his guards or one of his assistants, but he held on to it. He clasped it to himself very tightly the whole time, and he didn't give it up to anyone, and he held it all the way up into going into the car. And so immediately through my eyes, please Krishna, let him read it, Like let there be nothing else in that car for him to do. You know, let him have no other engagement than just open up one of those pages and read something out of the Bhagavad-Gita. Because who knows where it might end up, what kind of an effect it might have. And then I was constantly thinking about how, and Prabhupada's always mentioning that, you know, it's so important for us to be able to try to appeal to all of the leaders of the world, the political leaders of the world, you know, because they have such an influence over the rest of, you know, the cascading, you know, tiers of society below them, that if we can somehow appeal to the leaders of the world, then we can really have like a lot of high hopes for this Krishna consciousness movement to like become more widespread. So those were the things that were kind of going through my mind.